for tuning in. I'm gonna talk about some songs and probably get off topic.
Hey there, Danny.
Hey there, Ryan.
It is truly always a pleasure to see you.
I love seeing you. How are you?
I'm good. I know we both just got off work recently.
We did.
I got off work like 10 minutes ago.
I got off work like 10 hours ago, but same thing.
I had to go from that computer right next to me to this computer.
Ooh, look at you commuting.
So today, yeah, I commuted from work to here.
The life of a commuter, man.
Yeah, man. It's just,
Rush hour is hell.
It is with the dogs sometimes. But today is 6 quarters.
Great song.
I like this song a lot. It's one of my favorite hooks, and it was cool because it was a Cookies song. And in this episode, I actually talked to Abby, who was in the Cookies with me, and also Kamal. So that was a fun time.
Nice.
Always great,
Excellent.
Always good. Kamal's always great, and he was the original drummer in Mixtapes. And it was funny because I forgot that Kamal actually played the first fest with us.
Did he really?
I think because we did so much touring with Boone and like what I consider like the Mixtapes lineup.
Yeah.
That I forget that Kamal did a lot, and I forgot that he did the first fest with us. And
I didn't know that.
He made this promo video that I'd forgotten about. Did you ever see that?
I did not.
I'm gonna show it just so anyone in the world can see it because it's so dumb, and I just forgot. And
I'm
it made
sure
me
it's
laugh.
wonderful.
So I'm gonna share my screen so you can see it. And it's also awesome because I put in Mixtapes Fest 9 promo, which came up with that, and then a Fast and Furious trailer, which I assume is probably just like, advertising. But then also Travis Scott Sicko Mode for some reason. So
I can see how all those link together. It actually makes a lot of sense.
I do love the Fast and Furious franchise.
The algorithm is working.
Mine is Tokyo Drift. Like, I'm pretty much good with all of them, I think.
I don't even think I've seen
They lost me a little bit there. Well, the first one, I mean, sure. R.I.P. Paul Walker, but yeah, this video is only a minute and 18 seconds long, but I totally forgot we made it. Also, this is the shape I'm trying to get back to, is this 10 years ago bod right here. This is
I gotta say, I miss you not wearing shirts more often.
I don't usually wear shirts. Like, honestly, some of these days I have like gotten off work and put a shirt on to do these. Usually when I get home, my shirt is still, right off. That's guaranteed.
Is it weird in my head whenever I think of Ryan Rockwell? I'm shirtless.
No, because I mean, I don't particularly usually like to have a shirt on.
I don't blame you.
All right, we're gonna watch this.
Something about my mom's spaghetti. Palms are sweaty. And you got the music. I think we play Sunday night.
So I mean, that was our fest promo. So I'd forgotten about that. So that was always fun. And but 6 quarters, my main thing here, and I already talked about this with Abby, but I have to bring it up again because I'm sorry, but it's just, I realize that this song is called 6 quarters because back in the day and in the times that this song is about, every night on my way home, I would stop at the same McDonald's and get a large Diet Coke. No more, no less. Just a large Diet Coke. And I would always pay with 6 quarters because it was either $1.48 or $1.49. I want to say $1.48. So I used 6 quarters, which made me think of two things. Which A is that somehow McDonald's has beaten inflation and gotten cheaper because they're now $1 10 years
For
later.
real?
15 years later, which is actually weirdly fascinating.
Which is actually kind of scary. What's in that Diet Coke now?
Yeah, so it's actually less money. But B also is that I couldn't tell you why, but I don't know why. Apparently at that time I also had a huge abundance of quarters.
I was just gonna ask,
because
how did you always have 6 quarters?
because now, yeah, like if I needed 6 quarters, I would have to like scour my house and probably get frustrated. Like I don't. But apparently, back in the day, I just had bags full of quarters and was just doling them out of McDonald's every night. I don't
You
really
had
know.
like one
To
of
be
those
honest.
little like one of the little change things on your belt that you just crank out quarters like they used to have at arcades.
That'll be $1.48. Hold on, sweetheart. Let me
Chink, 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 chink.
like a toll booth guy going into New York. But I'm like, I really don't know why I just had quarters all the time, but apparently I did. So,
I hope you, did you keep them in a sack with a big money sign on them in like the back of your car?
and then I would just, I had
Perfect.
individual sacks full of 6 quarters, so I would just toss them to the McDonald's worker and be like, keep the change. And then I would just drive away. But there was never any change. Well, there were 2 cents.
2 cents. That adds up.
I said keep the change, and here's my 2 cents, and then I drove off. That was the worst joke of all time.
Throwing heavy little bags at people.
Yeah, my heavy little bags, and that's also my new album title.
Great name.
Heavy little bags, and then under it's the burdens we bear, and it's a metaphor.
Here's
for
my
the,
2 cents
for the bags under our eyes. But yeah, so 6 quarters is a song that I liked. I think you have some questions for me. I got some really good questions actually that I submitted online for people to send, and then some that I got were really good as well that I'm not going to talk about in these episodes yet because I think they'll be better later. But I guess we got some good ones.
So who sings the bridge on 6 quarters?
6 quarters, the bridge is sang by a guy named Frank, who I met through the insubordination pop punk scene. So in Subfest and all those things.
Subfest.
A lot of great bands.
I miss those.
Yes, absolutely. I really do. And he was in a band called Nancy, who I love. And I just like his voice, and they were a great band. So we became really good friends, and I just asked him to sing on it because I liked his voice. And that was really it. And his name's Frank. And he's working on new music now, but I don't think I have anything I can link or anything. But Frank's awesome.
I feel like you guys have done that a couple times where you're just like, hey, I like you. I like the band you're in. Come sing on this real quick.
I think in mixtapes it is funny because we talked about releasing music like hip hop. Like I think I looked at everything like hip hop. Like to
You
me,
did.
it wasn't like we were trying to get like cool people on our songs or to boost like the people listening to it or anything. Like
Yeah.
if it was somebody that was in a popular band, great, but there was a reason for it, or if it was whoever, because it's not like we were trying to get anything out of it. To me, I liked people's voices, especially typically I like them more than my own voice. So if I could put their voice on the song in some parts, it made me happy to hear.
I remember you explicitly saying you didn't want, when you had more, well-known people on it, you didn't want their featured like name on it. You didn't want their name being
No, it wasn't
attached
gonna
to
be on
it
the
because
album.
for the sole purpose of you going, I don't want to sell this for that. Like,
Which
I
looking
just like the
back is
voice.
like probably pretty stubborn, but at the same time, you're right. It wasn't. I just didn't want it to be looked at that way.
Yeah, and I like that.
It
I
was
think that
important to
shows,
me. Yeah,
a
and
little bit of character.
because
Weird.
what's cooler than being in the position that you can ask people in some of your favorite current bands to sing on your songs? Because then I have these songs of people that I already love their band. So that's like the best gift ever to yourself. If anything, it was just more of a selfish thing.
You guys were really just cranking out little mixtapes, pardon the pun, like little hip hop mixtapes and throwing your friends on them.
Oh yeah, if we could have at the time, I just would have had someone just sing all the songs. Just been like,
You
can we
guys
get
were basically
everyone
Cash
we know?
Money.
I want to be the DJ Khaled of pop punk. I'm just gonna. Well, no, because
Ryan Rockwell.
I want to at least write a little bit. I don't think he does anything, but
I don't think he does anything except.
I don't mean as an insult. I'm all about it.
Got to respect the hustle.
You got to respect the hustle. And that video of him getting lost on a wave runner might be like one of my favorite things of the last few years because it was unreal, but you just knew it was totally real.
What's that? That video or the Manny Fresh freestyle where no one freestyles and they just listen to a Manny Fresh beat?
That's a Manny Fresh freestyle where Mystical, for some reason, walks up to Manny Fresh in a car. Who, if people listening that don't know, shame on you, one, but B, Manny Fresh is the producer of, like Cash Money Records. Like in the 90s, he was everything.
He pretty much
Lil
created
Wayne, Hot
Southern
Boys.
sound as far as I'm concerned.
Manny Fresh is legendary producer, but also one of the best people. And that's the video where Mystical just walks up to him, Manny Fresh starts playing him a beat, and then all Mystical proceeds to say is damn, goddamn, damn, goddamn, or that's Manny right there.
It's the
But
best freestyle I've
the
ever
videos
heard.
listed is like Mystical Manny Fresh freestyle. And it's really just Mystical being like, damn, goddamn, and keeps on doing that to Manny Fresh. It's a good video. You should look it up. I'm not going to play it here because I don't feel like finding it.
Fair.
But all right. Was there another question?
I have another question.
Okay.
So why was this held on to? This, you said it was a Cookie song. How come we didn't see these until Maps and Companions, I believe, which was way later in mixtapes?
That's true. I don't know. Honestly, probably because some of those Cookies recordings, it's not like they were available anywhere. I had to like try to dig them up on MySpace for this episode and finding things. So they were never at hand. So most likely, and I'm not even sure, but I think what probably happened is that I just found like those songs like on a CD or a computer or a laptop or something and was like, oh, this was a cool song. We should remake it and like update it. So
Gotcha.
that's what happened.
That makes
Because
sense.
yeah, it wasn't like I just had it in my pocket or something. I just more so it was just probably like I forgot this song even existed.
Nice.
I wish there was a
Well,
cooler answer to that, but
that's a great answer for that.
oh well, thank you.
I have one more question.
Okay.
So when you're writing songs, I know Maura was writing a bunch of songs. Was there any system to how you guys would like choose who sings what?
I don't think so. I think like we just I mean, at practice we would kind of figure it out and then we would just both sing a lot, which kind of we've talked about before. It was just the
Mm-hmm.
singing. So that's why there's a lot of that. And then usually I think if someone wrote a certain part, like we would just it would just
Okay.
kind of happen. I don't think we really talked about it that much.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it just kind of came together and we figured a lot of it out
I
in the
just always
studio.
wondered. I knew there was a bunch of songs that like you had written that Maura sings, and it's like, huh? Do you just decide that like when you're writing? It's like, you know what, this is gonna sound better with Maura's voice through it. Or
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I would definitely write something and like I would start playing it or singing it and I would just realize that I wasn't gonna be able to do it justice. So and obviously More and I have totally different ranges and like she can do a
yeah,
lot of things that I can't do, of course. So sometimes I would just be like, this is gonna sound a lot better, I think, if she does it. So sometimes it would just be as simple as that. Like, I'm not gonna pull this off right.
cool.
Yeah.
The humble songwriter. Look at you.
No, I mean, because like if
I
I thought I
know.
was gonna do something good, I would definitely do it. But it's not like I'm trying not to be so hard on myself. It's not because I like my voice in our songs, but it's like my voice is just, you know what I mean? Like I'm not the type of person. I can't go on American Idol. Like I don't sing like that.
Yeah,
I can't like I don't have
you
like a
got that
great
snotty
pitch.
punk
I
rock
don't.
voice.
Yeah. So like I can't sing like that. Like Maura can do a lot more with her voice. I like my voice for what we did, but it was definitely more limited in certain ways. So that's more so what I meant. I wasn't trying to like pity
I
on
know.
my vocals or anything.
I'm just picking on you.
Yeah, but people always tell me like, you shouldn't talk about how you're bad at guitar and singing all the time. So sometimes I'm just gonna be like, you know what, I'm a great singer, even though I'm an okay singer, and that's okay.
You guys do realize I was in a punk rock band, right? It's not a prerequisite to be good at these things.
That's
I
true.
just have to be
That's
good
true.
enough.
Good enough, yeah. If Tim Armstrong can do it, we're all good.
I mean, right?
And that's
I
not
don't
an
even know what that man
insult.
says anymore.
I love Tim Armstrong. It's not even like a jab. It's just, facts.
All right, I think that's all the questions I got from that.
I think we're good then.
Unless you have any more.
No. I could ask you a question.
You can ask me.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate chip mint.
Okay. Solid choice.
Green, not the white one. I'm not a big fan of white chocolate.
The white one's kind of weird. It's a little weird. Okay. Mine's probably, I mean, mine's pretty standard too. Probably cookies and cream.
Good one.
Yeah, it's just solid.
Very good one.
You can't go wrong with it.
It's like a cold Oreo. It's delicious.
Now I want ice cream. All right. Well, thank you, Danny. As always, it's a pleasure.
Thank
This
you, Ryan.
episode is 6 quarters. I love you.
I love you more.
I love you. All right. Well, we're gonna go talk to Kamal now, and I
Tell
hope
Kamal
that
I
you
love him.
have a wonderful evening. I will.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My porch window is the only thing lighting me right now, and there's some clouds, and it's just like completely turned to dark in here a second ago, and then came back.
Well, I think before we start anything, I want to talk about the dicks behind you.
Yes.
Can we talk
There are
about
plenty of
like
dicks behind me.
they kind of do look like snakes. I assume that's supposed to be what they are. And
Yeah.
I like the painting a lot, actually.
Yeah.
You
So
got
that is the
Cincinnati in there
Cincinnati
with like
skyline, obviously, right?
Cincinnati skyline with just dicks.
Just which it should be, God willing, 2024.
A lot of dicks in Cincinnati. I mean, like penises and like shitty people.
You can't deny that.
You can't. I mean, I guess you can't deny that about literally any city ever, except for the
Can't. There's
Vatican. All good people there.
all good people, but even more dicks. Vatican's probably 80-90% dicks.
Which kind of dick are we talking?
I'm talking about genital.
Okay, like a penis.
Minimum, like 89% dicks in the Vatican.
Probably
Cincinnati,
more. Are women
at least 50 to 60%?
Are women allowed in the Vatican?
I mean,
that's like that's not even like me doing
in and out, right?
A bit. That was like more of a genuine question.
I mean, there's got to be like some people working there who aren't like ordained, who like work in the building, right?
I mean, I do not claim to be an expert of the Catholic Church at all. I didn't grow up Catholic, nor do I know anything about it. But I know the Vatican. Is the Vatican considered a city? It's a country, right? Isn't it like where's the Vatican?
It's in Rome, and it's its own thing, I believe. Yeah,
but it is its own
sovereign nation,
in Rome, right?
Technically, yeah. I think they have their own like laws and stuff.
It makes sense. Like you have to be doing some weird, wicked shit when you get to the point where you can just tell a country like, we're actually our own country in your country now, and they're like, okay. Like Texas has been trying to do that for years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The United States is like, no way. But the Vatican pulled it off. There had to be some outlandish shit happening.
Well, it helps when you're like, well, that law doesn't count here, so we're gonna bring our priest over here, and now he's innocent.
True, and when you have Disney money.
Oh yeah,
the Disney money goes far. It goes really far. Obviously, this is the first episode you've been on, and I was gonna, like I said, introduce you before the episode, but I'm not good at doing professional stuff, and I really was gonna do like a pre-episode like recording that was gonna like, I was gonna edit in like, hey guys, welcome to episode 3, and I was like, I would feel like such a dork doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just figured you could explain who you are. You actually were the first drummer in Mixtapes. You did not actually play on the first record.
Yeah,
which makes
technically first live drummer.
Which we will get more to that later in the season as well, with Tim. But Tim from Fireworks played drums on the record Maps. But you were our first drummer, just because it was kind of understood that when Tim played drums on the record, he couldn't commit to it. He wasn't able to play shows or tour or anything. So it was fun. And I believe, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think I reached out.
What's that? You're breaking up. What, can you hear me? I just lost your audio, completely lost your audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
is this angle weird?
No, the angle's good. Okay. Sorry about that, people. I don't know. We had some audio issues. I'm not good at this stuff, as Kamal knows. I was literally texting him like, hey, what's a good like video chat app or a screen recording app? I'm not good with the technical stuff. And that carries over to everything in Mixtapes. I didn't even know how to change my own guitar strings on tour. Boone, our drummer after Kamal here, actually changed them pretty much every week for me. And I would buy him dinner.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that was a good deal. But I think, unless I'm wrong, I reached out to you about playing drums on Maps before it was even done, because we were already in a band together. So I'm wrong, and I think I was telling you, like, these songs are really cool. I'm really excited about them. And we didn't know what it was going to be, but I think I'd already talked to you about it, unless I'm crazy.
Probably. I mean, I knew you were playing. I had heard, like, the earlier songs and stuff like that, and then it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember, like, how it all came about.
It really was.
But I mean, in typical fashion, like, you guys recorded it, like, super quickly, so...
Yeah.
I'm sure between you telling me that, asking me to be in the band, and then like me having the album, you probably recorded the entire album within like a week or something.
And then I probably knowing me most likely, and I was like, hey, come on, here's this album you've never heard. B, do you want to be in the band? C, we're gonna play a show in a week. Are you down?
Yeah,
it was just like, here, because once I get an idea, I just start going with it. And but before that, the reason, obviously, you and I were already in a band together. And in the episode before this, we actually did touch on the Fairfield scene, kind of just where everything come from. Random Heroes, one of my old bands. Only because maybe you'll agree, as someone like one of the 100 people in the world that has heard the Random Heroes, I feel like that style is something that carried over into like mixtapes and like just kind of all my writing. I feel like it was a good kind of like turning point of me figuring out kind of what I wanted to do, like kind of like a quirkiness in songwriting, something a little different.
Yeah, I think if you took the lyrics out of Random Heroes and then like placed like just the instrumental side by side, you could easily see like the evolution from one to the other in
Well,
styles.
the reason you might think that is because I took a lot of Random Heroes riffs and made the mixtape song. So
Yeah.
quite literally, you can place them side by side, and you can find a lot of similarities. But no, I definitely, and that scene. I mean, that's where you and I met as well, really originally, because I remember, if I remember this correctly, I met you, and the first time I think I saw you play a show was at a Fairfield High School cafeteria talent show. You were playing
It was
drums
like
in a ska punk band called 710 Split.
yes.
Is that all
Yeah, I think it
correct?
was like a yeah, I think it was like a battle of the bands.
It was a battle. Yeah, it was something like
Yeah.
that. And I actually was in Random Heroes with a few people from your high school.
Mhm.
So we were there not playing. We were like too cool for that, I'm sure. Because I think some of them talked to
Did
about it.
you did you guys not play, or did Slamline play?
Yes,
Okay.
the singer of the Random Heroes, his band before that did end up playing. So we were just there hanging out. And I remember seeing you. And I remember that you guys definitely played Less Than Jake covers.
I mean, 90% of every songs we ever played was just covers. It was Less Than Jake or Real Big Fish. That's pretty much all we ever did.
You could have thrown in some Goldfinger or Aquabats.
We did. I think we did Red Sweater. That was about
Okay, that's about it. Did you get
Never the
little,
good ones.
you didn't? Did you get the little Travis Barker fills in on it?
I, that's one of the reasons we probably avoided some of the other stuff. Like I was good, but it was still like playing like Super Rad or something like that. It was too much on my 15-year-old body.
And well, yeah, that's fair. And I was saying though, I think Cincinnati was interesting, and maybe that's just because I was there. I mean, every city has their own interesting things, but really in that whole scene, I feel like it was a lot of different stuff. Because I feel like overall at that time, there's a lot of big like hardcore like metal like that was kind of like when metal like new metal was transitioning out of new metal into where like you could tell the new metal kids were like, I need something tougher. I need to be more angry.
Yeah, I
I need
think
to be a little
you
more
got
angry.
more. You
And,
started
and the straight
transitioning.
edge
Those
scene
guys
was
went to like,
straight edge
yeah,
scene
they
was
started
getting
getting
real
into
big
hardcore,
for
and then
sure.
but you also had like post punk of like the entire East Coast emo post punk scene was starting to come out. So Taking Back Sunday, brand
Yep.
new. So that was just hitting,
And you also
along
had
with like Glassjaw and stuff.
and then you had like the starting line and like Newfound Glory and all drive through scenes. There was like so many things happening. And I feel
Yeah,
like Cincinnati oddly had a lot of people that were like doing different things, which was cool. Cause even back in those days, I think Random Heroes was definitely different. Like you even had like all the old like train of thought, like pre Foxy Shazam and all that stuff. We're talking about that, like
yeah.
Verbal Dynamite, and like not that all these bands were good necessarily, but it was a fun time because I feel like Cincinnati definitely has its own like fuck you
But
vibe of the world where like there was
but a
so
lot of them turned into something.
and they did like
Yeah.
even in smaller ways, like from like say mixtapes to like yeah, Foxy Shazam to Eric Nally. I mean like and all those guys and like there's more than that, of course. Like a lot of those people, there was a lot of creativity happening. It was a fun time, I think.
Yeah.
What were you gonna
And I
say?
can't tell if it's just our city or like is. I feel like that it was pretty unique for our city to have like over 10 years to have so many like national acts come out of it. I don't know if every city has that, especially for a city smaller like Cincinnati,
For sure. And I think
you know?
there's obviously and people listening, of course, like there's way more cities than Cincinnati. Like Cincinnati's nothing. Yeah, like I feel like there are a lot of cities where that have a lot more famous and popular bands than we do. But I feel like those bands aren't always necessarily as unique. I think there is something about Cincinnati and the bands that do come from here. There's usually something about them. It's not just like a cookie cutter band that got famous, if that makes sense.
But we even had, I mean, we had Walk the Moon come out of Cincinnati.
Yeah. And
After
I
all
mean,
that, we had, I mean, and then 21 Pilots played most of their shows in Cincinnati before they
yeah,
like blew
we
up.
played with 21 Pilots at a coffee bar
Yeah.
to about 15 people, and I remember us watching them being like, this band sucks. And then like on top of that, we're just like, I remember that Steve, the bass player of Small Time Crooks, which we'll get into in a minute, was so upset, or maybe it was Hunter, because he had that huge fake, he had a whole body of a piano, but no piano in it, and he had a keyboard, but it was like hidden.
Well, he like they gutted out a piano and he put in like an electric keyboard in the piano. But it was before their current lineup even. It was him and like two other older dudes
That's right.
in the band. There was a drummer and then like a bass player or guitar player, right? And then so we play with him like he's good. I don't know what those I don't know if those two dads are with him. And then like less than a year later, he had that other drummer, and then like every time we saw them play, we were like, oh, they're getting a crowd. They're getting a crowd. Like it's getting big. It's getting big.
And more power to them. They were very nice. Like I'm not being mean. I just it's funny because I remember when we played with them, I remember like walking outside and telling you guys, I was like, this band sounds like Coldplay meets mindless self-indulgence, and I need to go outside. I was like, and honestly, when they got big, I still don't disagree with that statement of what I said. I don't, but no, they were very nice. But it was just funny. I remember either Kamal or Hunter or Steve was so upset about the keyboard in there and not being a real piano. I just remember it made me laugh because it was one of those things that I felt like in a movie was brought up time after time that night.
But it's also like there's 3 of them, and you're gonna carry that thing into every venue you play.
But I guess
even you empty it out, it's still heavy.
Jokes on us though, it paid off. They
really
they did okay for themselves. Those kids did okay for themselves. They're doing okay. I think they're gonna make it. I think they're gonna make it through this quarantine.
But it was like every other weekend they'd be down in Cincinnati, and then and then they would save up their like one hometown show until they like drew that huge audience.
Could do the thousands,
like every
I remember that, yeah, for sure. And I think Cincinnati was cool, so I think for that reason there was a lot of cool stuff happening. And then we got to be more of a part of it as I think pre-mixtapes, and it's very important because that's kind of where you and I came from. My songwriting, we started doing a rap group called Small Time Crooks that I guess you want to call it hip hop. I guess we call it fake ass boy band hip hop.
Yes,
that's the best description. And it was
that was on a t-shirt as well.
And that was a band that was going well mixtape started, so it was only important because I feel like that was a thing. Like we were definitely still playing shows well into mixtape starting. I don't remember how far.
Well, I remember. So I was in a different band, and we asked you to like manage and help book us. And that's like
I got you a show with the Pink Spiders.
You got us with Pink Spider. You actually got us a lot of shows.
I did.
But I remember even that day you were like, "Oh, listen to these beats I made like in your car."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You had an iPod Touch with like a yellow case. You're like, "Oh, check these beats out."
I do remember that. I miss that iPod Touch and that yellow case. It had such a good grip on it.
And then when Small Time Crooks was going, it was towards the end of Small Time Crooks probably that mixtapes was starting, and then we were playing shows in tandem because of being in Small Time Crooks was like being a ska band. Like you're never going to be able to get everybody on the same schedule.
It really was hard.
And you want to just play more shows, so you got a smaller
Crooks,
quartet.
For people listening, it was me rapping and singing, a guy named Timmy who you saw in the episode, or actually might be on this episode. I don't remember. We'll see when I edit. That's the magic of technology. And then so me and Timmy on vocals, a girl named Sarah on vocals, Kamal on drums, a guy named Dustin on guitar at the time, a guy named Steve on bass. So that was 6 people, but also a guy named Pat who made all the beats. So we really were like a 7-piece band, and it was wild. And we actually, for that being said, played an impressive amount of shows and good shows, and did a lot. We got a lot done, but a 7-piece band is not.
I think a lot of what we accomplished in that led to, I think, mixtapes taking off as fast as it did. Like we got the whole ethos of like releasing mixtapes, like just constantly releasing content. You carried that over into mixtapes, which nobody else did. We met a lot of bands in Small Time Crooks that you would have thought we met in mixtapes. Like we played with like the Wonder Years and shit way before we were mixtapes.
Let me show everybody.
Right?
I found this. This is pretty funny. There we see is this flyer for the show. Do you remember this? It was in Indianapolis, and it was the Wonder Years.
I still see your folder.
Oh, do you?
Switch over windows? Yeah.
Oh no, I messed everything up.
No, you might need to select after you open it. So when you select what you want to share, select
there we go.
The preview window.
Is that better?
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, that was it's funny, and a lot of people I think do assume that mixtapes got their connections because of that, and really a lot of these bands like
We met them
Wonder
all
Years.
when we were
We
playing
met
hip hop.
playing rap music. We were playing rap shows, but we had a. Well, we'll get into that in a second. All the different types of stuff we got to do. But yeah, like Tim from Fireworks, like he already was like every time Fireworks played Cincinnati, you know, like Small Time Crooks played with them multiple times, and they would just sleep at my house. Like those were my friends. Like the Wonder Years we met through that too. So the pop punk scene was weird as mixtapes just happened to be recording an album at the time, but it was never a plan to be like, we're gonna start this band and this pop punk scene. You know, that's what's funny about it is we were like making rap music, and you can testify to this. I was much more interested in making rap music. I
Yeah,
think that's
for
not
sure.
it's
I think
always been.
the only the only reason I think you pushed towards mixtapes was because you wanted to play out more, and it would be way easier with a smaller like pop punk band.
Definitely, and I was trying to play
But
shows.
one of the another thing of like another awesome thing about Cincinnati, and like another thing that helped us like kind of get bigger, was we would play with a bunch of pop punk bands, rock bands, stuff like that, but we'd be the only hip hop group. So not
Yeah.
only would we get to play in front of all their crowds, but it was also like a refreshing change in the lineup anytime people saw us, right?
It's
But
true.
then like no one ever complained. It was like, oh, awesome, here's something different amongst like all these hardcore bands.
Yeah, 100% true. We played some crazy shows like that. Like we were playing, um, we played a wrestling ring with Have Heart. I mean, that's like a legendary band at this point. We played with Bitter End. We were playing like basement shows with hardcore bands, just playing like rap music. It's not like we were like a rock band. It was just hip hop. You know, it was poppy, but it was like, but the poppy made it even more weird. We weren't an aggressive band. We were basically literally making pop music.
Yeah.
And
And
like,
we even did like, remember we did the dual CD release show with I Am the Messenger?
yes.
Like a metal band, like another metal Cincinnati metal band. We had a dual CD release show and damn near sold out the whole place. And that was just like, that
And the
also
Wonder
goes to
Years,
Cincinnati's credit.
the Wonder Years played that show and did not headline it, by the way. You remember that? They jumped
Yes.
on it last minute. So it's
Yeah.
just funny. Like, so that was, those were our relationships we already had, and it was interesting. And we just, there we are, everybody seeing. There's a picture of us. I
Yeah.
look like a little baby. That was me before I discovered the evil and hardships and bad things of the world.
Yeah. And that was at Cincinnati Punk Fest, right?
Yeah. And we,
At Southgate.
yes. Yeah, it was.
And where we would always request to play the smallest rooms
Yes.
because it would just be a party.
It was like it was an accidental band. Like we were just making hip hop because that was just interesting to me. And obviously, I'd asked you, and I remember trying to find a drummer for a hip hop group is weird because when you're someone that's mostly in the punk scene that wants to do hip hop, you can find drummers that are either, you know, like really technical and want to do all this weird stuff, or like people that want to play pop punk or hardcore. But trying to find somebody for what we were doing was a very weird thing. And you fit it so perfectly. So
Thank
it
you.
worked so
Well,
well.
it wasn't that I was like doing a lot, but you had to have a certain set of skills to be able to play to the click, but also embellish over the beats that were already there. And I think that's
Absolutely.
what we all did well, was we had the backing track, but everybody played along and then like added on top of it without making it too much all at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So then I can say when we started doing the mixtapes thing, we kind of recorded maps, which yeah, I think we did over the course of 4 days, maybe. I mean, Tim drove down from Detroit, um, where Fireworks is from, of course. He drove down,
Hmm.
and we had a practice space that we had at the time, which again, it was Small Time Crooks and Suffocate Faster or Suicide Pact. We had
Yeah.
everything from like straight edge hardcore bands. It was awesome. We had some shows there. Like we did crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun. And we had the vibe of a punk hardcore band, but we were playing poppy rap music. And I think it definitely worked in our benefit. And it made us work in a different way. And like you said, we put music out like crazy. I mean, we put out so many
Hmm.
releases, and that carried straight over into mixtapes for sure.
Yeah.
Because why not? Like, oh, we're a band. Well, we should be writing, right? We should be making music. Like, or we should be playing shows. It was one of those things. And then
Yeah, and it wasn't any sort of anything that any other punk band was doing at the time. Like you wouldn't think to just put out as much content as you can when you're in any other band. Like I've never been in a band that did that. It was always like years down the road, you have enough songs, we should probably make a record, let's put it. But you took the hip hop ethos of like release little mixtapes as much as possible, and that really I think drove the awareness of mixtapes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think the reason is because, yeah, like I grew up in the punk scene, but also like in the rap scene just as much. And yeah, like you said, just putting out records, like I could never be the guy that was in a band that was like, I'm going to spend 4 years writing this opus about my like this and that. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But like, it would just be so boring to me. I was definitely like,
Yeah.
a burst of energy to me, like here's what I'm thinking right now, let's get it out, because it could be different next week, and if it is, I'll write another song then, and that's awesome, then I have a
Yeah.
different thing down. Like I
By
didn't
the
want to
time
be,
you like release that full album, I mean, there's so many songs on there that are like so old that do you even like them anymore? Like, do you
yeah,
care about putting them out?
I can't sum up my life over 4 years in a 12-song record, because at that
Yeah.
point I can sum up the last month in a 12-song record if I'm
Yeah.
talking about like my feelings and my so it's like, for me, yeah, I just always wanted to keep writing. So like I remember we started doing the mixtapes thing. I kind of gave you the record and was like, will you learn these songs? And then you did. And obviously you got to play on mixtapes records for sure. You played on the next 2.5, 3 releases after that, which we'll
Yeah.
get into next season a lot more too. But you
Yeah.
definitely got to do
And
your share of recording.
Tim's shoes are probably the biggest shoes I could ever fill as well. He's one of my favorite drummers, like of all
He,
time,
I mean,
let
yeah, oh
alone
yeah.
like
To finish
doing
that
all that
story,
in like,
to his credit, yeah, like for people who don't realize, if you listen to Maps to this day, and this isn't, I'm not egotistical. I think I'm the worst part of any band I'm in. This is just talking about Tim and you filling his shoes. Like, if you listen to Maps today, the drums on the record are really cool. And I like keep in mind that Tim came down from Detroit and had never heard these songs. Um, he just heard Moore and I playing them for 10 minutes one night when Fireworks played in Cincinnati. So he came down, we went to this practice space, and we showed him all 7 songs or 10 songs, whatever. 7, I think 3 are acoustic. I don't know. And he learned them like the night before, and we started recording the next morning at 9 a.m. And then he had to drive back, leave by like 6 to catch like a flight at 4 a.m. the next day to go on tour with Saves the Day. So he like literally like he recorded all those drums not even in a day, in less than a full day, hearing them the night before, and like they still sound great. Like
he's just so freaking good. I wish he was still playing. He's
yeah,
not playing anymore. Like he's just like training.
yeah, he's like doing some medical school stuff. I believe he's going
Wow.
to be on this season. I talked to him, and I did not know I had talked to him forever, but yeah, I talked to him the other night, and
He
he's doing great. He seemed very
he's just
happy.
incredible, and
He's a great
it
person
would take somebody that good to like be able just to pull that off and not like not have any regrets about what they recorded.
for sure.
Like whatever he was going to put down, like yeah, this is great, and it will stand the test of time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I think yeah, Tim's an amazing person, and you came in and filled it. You know, you filled those shoes perfectly. You
Thank
nailed
you.
all the parts on the album and did good after that. And I think so. We started, playing shows, and before that, the only types like I'd done Random Heroes, and then this episode is about the song 6/4, and really the relevance is just because from the cookies going into mixtapes, it was just a transition. So the songs are loosely based. There's just the songs are something around. It's more of a time frame. This is
Yeah.
just kind of a time frame. So regardless, we started playing shows. I remember, and that's what's funny is we had those connections, and they weren't connections because of anything other than just friendships. And
Yeah.
the very first mixtape show was at the Wonder Years in Crime and Stereo, and I remember people being like,
Sold out.
What the fuck?" It was sold out, and like, it's not like we were like cool guys. Like we didn't cool guy anybody. Like I think it was like they were just some friends of ours, and I was friends with Christian from Crime and Stereo at that point too, before mixtape started, just from old bands back in the day, and just like touring and stuff like that. So we just got at it. It was sold out, and that was an insane show. That was right when the Wonder Years were really hitting, like right when people
Mhm.
were discovering them. I think it was like right after Won't Be Pathetic Forever, like right when Upsides was coming out.
Yeah, like we
And
had seen them play in front of like a handful of people, but every time they would come around, few more people, few
yeah,
more people, few more people. And then the day after that show, we get them on the bill that we were on the next day at the Mad Hatter,
at the Mad Hatter, yeah.
right? Was that with Small Time Crooks the next day?
Yeah, well, yeah. So the Wonder
Yes.
Years played this show, and it was in a room. Keep in mind, it was mixtapes first show, so just between in our hometown, starting mixtapes. All
Phil
of our
played that show.
friends, yeah, and we had a keyboardist at the time. A lot of people might not know that. Mixtapes first 2 shows, we had a keyboard player, and then for our third show, we were supposed to play with Title Fight in Indianapolis. The show got canceled, right? I don't even think we played. Or no, we did play.
Something
Title fight
happened
canceled.
where like we booked the show the next night, like like that night we booked it.
That sounds like us for sure. So then our keyboard player couldn't come. We played without him. We were just like, this sounds fine, so we'll just do it without him, I guess. And then he was fine. I mean, he didn't care.
Yeah.
I really don't think he cared at all, honestly. Did he?
No.
I really don't.
No.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't. It didn't matter. We had like it was nothing. We were just having fun. It was just a thing. And then
No, especially at that time, it wasn't like
it's not like we were about to go on tour, get signed to a record deal.
no.
Like,
This was literally
we were just
first show.
when we recorded Maps. I didn't think anyone outside of our friends would ever hear it. I will say that a big proponent in getting me to work harder at it was Soupy. Like Dan, when I was driving with him, for him to record vocals on a Small Time Crooks song, because he did a song with us way back in the day. I just played him Maps and he was like, this is great. You have to do something with this. So he was like, we didn't plan on anything. Like for me at the time, the focus was Small Time Crooks. Like we were working on records. Like I wanted to get out of town. And I just like mixtapes to me really was just a cathartic thing that we recorded like after my dad passed away. It wasn't a plan to do anything. So
yeah,
we didn't.
That's one song with Soupy that very few people, nobody, no Wonder Years fans have heard.
Isn't
outside
it funny?
of Cincinnati.
We should put that out. It's a good song. It really is. It's
great
to this day.
He does so good on it.
It is a really good song. It's yeah, I'm gonna put that out there. It's called Most Days. I believe it's still on MySpace actually.
Is MySpace still MySpace?
Should we see if we can play the song?
Yeah, I mean we own it. It's really, really good. Especially it's like a very Wonder Years-esque hook.
It is.
I mean, I might have this song on my computer, but I don't think it'll play through my iPad over Zoom. Nope.
wait, no, hold on. We're not done.
What was it, Ohio 69?
I wish. There we go. But I don't know if the musical's still there.
I have not been on here in a very long day. There it is.
Look at this. Most Days featuring Soupy. Yeah, this is like has to be over. This is over 11 years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's 2009.
Yeah.
Play him a hook. Get him to a hook.
Yeah.
Especially like the end. I think that's when he like really belts it out.
You should be able to hear my screen. I mean, hear it when it comes through. Let me know. It's not playing yet there for some reason.
Yeah. And do you remember when he went in to record it? He's like, I didn't realize he was joking until probably years later. But he's like, I have to record with my pants off.
Yeah.
Like so he just like was in there in his like boxers. I didn't realize he was joking till years later, and I was like, oh no, he's just got a dry wit.
Man, it's not.
We took him there after a show at night. Took him to the studio.
Yeah,
to record
after
that.
a Wonder Years show in Cincinnati, and they played. And when he came to record a hook for us, and that's when I played him Maps, and that's when he really encouraged me to do something more with it, which was nice. Because like I said, we didn't think anyone was going to hear the record. We really didn't. It was just something we made, like, and we're passionate about it, but it wasn't like a plan. We weren't like, we're going to go on tour. We're going to open this show, and then. Wonder Years and Crime and Stereo were coming to town, so we got on that show. And again, yeah, this was when all that was happening, plus Crime and Stereo, plus our first show. And like, not that mattered. No one knew who mixtapes were, but it was our hometown. We had so many friends. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're gonna come out and check it out anyway as people. So they had it in a room that held, I think, 90 people.
Yeah, it was like, very undersized.
It was insane. It was like upstairs, yeah, at this venue, and. So it was so oversold out. There were people driving around. I had friends texting me because at that point, outside of mixtapes, of course, I had a ton of friends that loved Crime and Stereo and the Wonder Years. So people were texting me like, how are we going to, get in? But I was like, I don't know. So somehow we figured something out is that the Wonder Years had the next day off. And we actually were already playing a show. No, not mixtapes. Small Time Crooks were playing a show the next day at a venue. So we got the Wonder Years on it, and they had a bigger show, and a few hundred kids came out at that show to see him. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
That's right?
Something like that. Either that, or there was a show booked that only had a couple bands on it, and mixtapes and Wonder Years jumped on it.
That's what
something
it was.
Like that. Because I remember, I don't know.
Band, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember if Small Time Crooks played or not.
They didn't. It was mixtapes and Wonder Years, and it was just our friends' band, and it was a metalcore show.
Yeah, and we booked it that night.
Mixtapes' first two shows were with the Wonder Years and Crime and Stereo, and then us and the Wonder Years playing with a bunch of local metalcore bands.
Yeah,
and that was a funny start. And our third show was with Title Fight, so it was like we got to have a cool start for sure. We were very lucky.
Well, I remember the bands the second night. They were like kind of like peeved that like we all jumped on last second. Like, who the fuck are these guys? And then when they played, they're like, oh, how do all these kids know
It
every
was amazing
fucking
because I remember
word?
the bands were upset. Like, who are these two bands that jumped on? Like 300 people showed up for the Wonder Years. This place was packed, and all of a sudden these bands were like, okay, I mean, I guess this is fine.
They
I
like
guess
they
we're
thought
making
they were there for them, but
yeah,
no.
yeah. I was like, no, they were there for the Wonder Years. But that was definitely a fun start, and that was definitely. And then I think your last show you played, which we'll get to more the next time you're on, but we had a lot of cool runs because it was with Les and Jake, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the Death to Hall False Hopes Fest, right?
Yeah. That was the
Yeah,
last
that
one.
was a great one.
But it was definitely. I don't remember where my thought was from there.
We were just talking about our first show, and then you jumped straight to my last show.
I was just thinking, stuff we did. But no, in those beginning days, it was fun. I remember we would go out of town and play as much as we could. And we didn't at that point. I still don't think really those first few shows, even though we were playing those cool shows, we really thought about touring. You know what I mean? We didn't really talk about it. I know it wasn't even feasible at the time.
No, we
Mora,
would drive an endless amount just to play a one-off.
we really all cared. Like, we loved playing music, and we always, that's definitely been a thing. But I remember you had a job that would make no sense.
We were all
to quit.
working like full time. Yeah.
Mora was starting college. She just enrolled, so she couldn't tour.
Yeah.
Luckily, she dropped out. We ended up doing it anyways. Once
Mhm.
you and Josh were not there, but you had
Yeah.
a good job. And Josh, I mean, yeah, Josh has so much going on right now, like at the time, and like working up to, and like there was no way it was going to happen. So at the time, we were just, we would drive forever. We drove to New York, which we'll get to in the next episode you're on, because we played.
Yeah.
We ended up filming the Sprinkles music video on that trip, but we drove to Nyack, New York for one show.
Yeah. Anything under 12 hours, we would be like, yeah, we can be there and back in a night.
And we would. We would just try to do it. We would make it happen.
Yeah, we'd be back before 5 a.m. There was so many shows where we would drive to, and then like I'd get like an hour in bed, and then like I'd get back up and go straight to work, just like completely a zombie.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely 100% true. And it was fun. And I think even our live show was something that we carried over from Small Time Crooks. I think with Small Time Crooks, it was like just always about having fun. I think a very Cincinnati thing, again, I feel like, are like you'll find bands that take music seriously, but like maybe it's a Midwest thing. Like, we can never really take ourselves that seriously. And I think in a lot of ways it could be a detriment because people would assume it was like a joke band type thing. It's like, no, these songs like are so serious to me. But outside of that, like, what am I going to be serious about? Like getting on stage or going to a studio? Like, that's just all fun.
Yeah, we spent most of our time making fun of people who took themselves that seriously.
We did, and that carried over from our old bands too, like Small Time Crooks. And Small Time Crooks, like, just for perspective for people, I know like anyone listening to this is probably just because of the mixtape stuff, and I know like you've never heard of Small Time Crooks, but like in Cincinnati, like Small Time Crooks could draw a few hundred people if we promoted a show. Like we were playing with Wiz Khalifa, Kid Cudi. We were playing all these shows. Like
Small Time Crooks was bigger than mixtapes in Cincinnati.
Zero question. Probably Small Time Crooks was probably bigger than mixtapes in Cincinnati once mixtapes were signed and touring.
Still, yeah, at any point.
Yeah,
at any point. It was always the inverse. Like we would play out of town as mixtapes and be like, "Oh, where'd all these kids come from?" And then we play in town and we're like, "Oh, no one gives a shit about us."
Yeah, and it carried that way even after Boom was in the band, and it was me, Boom, Paul, and Moore. Like we would come through on these like bigger tours in Cincinnati, and like there would be people there, but when we tried to play there, I think it's just the hometown thing. And I respect that.
Everyone just knew who we were.
That's why I love Cincinnati, though. It didn't deter me.
Yeah.
I respect Cincinnati because I get it, because I'm that same guy too, and I don't give a shit about your band usually, unless you're ever. So it's like Cincinnati's it's a weird scene, and I didn't mind that. But Small Time Crooks, like we were definitely like playing a lot of big shows. Like we got to do a lot of cool stuff, just making this goofy pop hip hop music through the filter of being like punk rock people in all of our own rights, and we just had so much talent there. So minus me for the most part. Again, a common theme here is that I surround myself with talented people because I'm smart.
Yeah, but one of your best traits is you push people outside of their comfort zone, like musically or like timeline wise or just effort wise. Like on my own volition, I would have never made as much music or played as many shows had I not been in a band with you. A lot of it was like, hey, we're recording an album next week, and then like 2 days before, like, hey, we're gonna add 2 more songs. Like, I would never make those decisions on my own. It always worked out because we all pushed ourselves
made it.
to
Yeah, you
make
have
it
to.
happen. You just have to make it happen. We're recording. We have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's probably your best trait, like to be in a band with, is you will push, and then at the end of the day, I was always like, oh, okay, we made it work out.
Yeah, and it was always a good feeling. It was fun. It was fun
Yeah.
to do. That and writing the songs, I can do that. Past that, you're on your own. I'm not good at anything else. But and I feel like I'm a generally pleasant person to be around, at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I did walk around with a whip. I would Mike Nessett from Social Distortion. I don't know if those rumors were true, but I used to hear that like he would draw like boxes and tape on stage, and if the other people in the band got outside of them, he fined them money. And I hope to God that's fucking true, because if it is, I actually think Mike Ness is the best dude ever. He rules so hard if he does that, because he sucks so hard that he's amazing.
What's the purpose? Like, he doesn't want them in his space?
Yeah, I think like from what I've heard, he's just one of those people. It's like, this is my band. This is the image I want. This is how it is.
Yeah.
You don't come out of tune. You don't jump around too much. Like, this is our vibe, and this is what it is. Like this again. This is all hearsay. I'm just saying this, so maybe it's not true, but it seems like it is. I could see Mike Ness being like that.
Yeah. I gave you 2 square feet.
Yeah.
You're in my shit.
Why did you jump? I was just feeling the music. You don't feel this music. You play it. You don't feel these songs. You play them properly.
Did I tell you to feel that?
I guess it is better than the bands that feel it too much, though. Do you remember there was like this thing, like in the definitely in the early mid 2000s, like when emo and screamo were a thing, where every band, especially the swoopy hair bands, would overplay, but it was to like a comical degree, like where you would just be in tears.
Oh, I mean, we're talking about the era of like guitar spins and like choreography, and like they were half bands, half ninja at a certain point.
Yeah, like you got the dudes that were they would be like stomping up and down at their feet, and like they wouldn't even play half the time. They'd be like swirling their guitar around their neck 16 times in a row.
Yeah.
And like the drummer was flipping his stick up in the air, and then like this singer was just screaming, and you were like, oh, so metalcore basically is just this then. Okay. I guess this is what you're doing. I'm just kidding. I'm not really like saying that's all metalcore.
The people really got into putting on a show at a certain point.
Yeah, definitely.
And like we kind of like went away from like, okay, we all sound alike, but how can we differentiate each other?
Small Time Crooks, and I think carrying to beginning mixtape shows, and actually in some of our tours, we just what we would do is we were like, all right, we got a show. Let's go buy a bunch of inflatable palm trees. Let's find some shit to throw at people in the crowd. What would be super obnoxious, and then we would just be like, all right, we're gonna make this a fun time. We did that too. I think when Mixtapes did a tour with Real Friends, we brought the palm trees and a bunch of beach balls, and it was a winter tour, I believe. We were like, we're gonna
you got to make an event.
We're gonna make an event here. We're gonna have some fun with it.
You're gonna make people come out, pay money and shit. You better have fun.
But that was carried over too, like from those old days of like that old Cincinnati scene where Verbal Dynamite, my old band before Random Heroes, we would have those kiddie pools full of whipped cream. We shot oatmeal cannons. When we would play with Train of Thought back then, Eric had the dildo microphone. The dildo mic?
Yeah.
The dildo mic. There was like, it was always a good performance going on in Cincinnati. People were ridiculous. We were definitely on some other shit of some sort. I wish this song would play. It's bumming me out.
I might have it like saved somewhere, but I don't know. I don't think it will play through the system.
It will. If you share your screen on here, you can do an option where it'll share your sound.
If I close Zoom and open something, I might cut my camera off. Let me. Let me try real quick.
Different. That's fine.
I'm on my iPad. 1 second. Let me see. Can you still see me?
No, but it's okay. We can hear you.
All right. 1 second. I think I have all the Small Time Crooks songs saved on Google Drive. 1 sec. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah.
For now,
because over the years, I've had so many people like, hey, where can I get those songs? Like 10 years later. So I just like threw them all up online. Just like here's everything I have on my computer.
I'm showing a picture of you right now playing drums, looking handsome.
Which
It's just a picture. And then one thing I did want to talk about. Actually, we can save that for the next episode.
I have some songs on here that are just named by numbers of tracks. What track number was? What track number
10.
was that?
It was 10.
Was it really?
It was 10. Yeah. You could
Let
just
me-
hold it
let
up
me-
to the mic and play it if you want.
One
It's
sec,
fine.
over here. Nope, that ain't it. Wait, can you hear that?
No, I cannot hear that at all.
Let me open Zoom again.
Oh, you're fine.
All right.
All right, sorry about that. We were trying to find the link, and I didn't want to make it too silent. So we did find it. So here's an 11-year-old song of our old band recording during the mixtapes recording process. It was in the same studio, actually, so I got to play it. But here is Soupy on a song with us, recorded 11 years ago that hardly anyone's ever really heard, I think.
Don't talk, I think I'd rather just sing songs. You can sing along, but don't stay long. I gotta get this down before I forget, or say something that I might regret. This long day just came to an end, so I stare out the window and wait on friends. I'm heading out, not sure where, so I hum this tune out the window, I stare.
And I roll, I go to a place you never know. I did it with the flow, you can join me. Please get away from the stress and get life in. Could you do it today? Anyway, this time we spend playing about the light of them shining above. It can only be love. I'm happy that I understand. Kinda makes me a better man. That's the plan.
Most days it's hard to pull myself out of bed in the morning. Who is that helping? Nobody. Pour every ounce of myself into becoming something. Cause life's about dying.
Each day's a gift from the good to bad. I think about that when I think of my day.
I'm going to cut off there because what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this in the link on the video so people can just download it.
Okay.
Does
You
that
want to
work?
get to? You want to let them hear that last chorus though?
No, I want them to have to go download it because the last
Oh.
chorus is the best part.
That's the best part. Damn it.
I'll give them a little second of it. That's it. That's right there.
Yeah.
It gets real. It gets loud. It gets loud. It is. It was a cool song. It was a fun experience, though. To be for real, it is a great song. And I do want people to hear the whole thing. I'm just gonna post it instead of playing the whole thing, but I'm just gonna post it in the link under this, and people can download it. I do need to make that all available. We should get all those songs together, like, and go through them and rename them and stuff, and like actually separate it and make something.
Yeah. I'll send you the link that I have to everything that I had on my computer. I'm sure it's not complete, but it's a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Other than that, I think that's a good length for this episode. You feel good?
Feel great.
I feel like we
Feel
covered a
real
lot
good.
of good things.
I mean, we got up to mixtapes. There's stuff after mixtapes, but we got up to mixtapes.
There is, and that's, next time you come on, we're gonna be talking about the song Sprinkles, which that episode will have more to do with the song than this one did. So it's okay. I'm just kind of figuring out as I go. I'm just like Seth MacFarlane starting, Family Guy.
Yeah. Just working out characters right now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking it all in my head. But no,
Just getting
next episode you're on will be about Sprinkles. And we're gonna miss you in between then. I hope you're gonna miss us too.
Miss you.
I'm gonna miss
I've
you
missed
too.
you.
But so thanks for coming on, Kamal, and you have a wonderful day. And I want you to enjoy those dicks behind you.
Thank you. I will. We will.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
We don't want a part of it. Oh yeah. We just do it for the fun of it. Oh yeah. You just do it for the art of it. I'll never be a part of it.
I have my laptop in front of my desktop, and just my desktop turned on all of a sudden.
So there's definitely no ghost in your house.
He was looking up how to unlock a note on iPhone 14 jailbreak.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to start this, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay.
Well, we're recording, so we'll just go ahead and start. How are you?
I'm good. How are
Now
you?
the world knows that you want to jailbreak your phone, and now you're going to prison.
I don't have an iPhone 14. Is that such a thing?
I don't know. I don't even think the 12 is out yet, but the 14 is definitely not.
I have an 8, and it's the screen's cracked. So
I just upgraded my 8 to an 11, like within the last couple months. It took me a long time.
I'm too scared of the like facial recognition thing.
I want it.
I,
I want the government to watch me because I think if anything, I think they'll learn a lot. I think maybe
they
they need to watch me. I don't know. I'm okay with it.
they probably do.
Yeah, they could learn some
Like
lessons.
maybe like 15 years ago, they should have been watching you.
Can we address the fact that you have 400 guitars behind you? And can you also send me multiple guitars as well? Is that something that we can work out?
I am in the studio right now because it's the only place that's soundproof.
That's
So
fair enough. That's fair enough.
I have a 120-pound dog, and he has a cone on right now.
Oh, geez.
He can't make it through doorways.
That's
So
kind of adorable.
it just like stops on him, and then he just like runs. He's loud, so.
Oh. Okay, well, fair enough. Well, I guess I should introduce you. You can introduce yourself. Hello, Abigail. Do I call you Abigail?
You can call me Abigail, but you're also my friend, so you can just call me Abby.
I've always called you Abby, but Abigail as well. I think it's funny because the music you and I made together was like the most short-lived, and like technically speaking, we never put out any real music. We played one show ever, and all the other bands like that I talked about in here have done all these records and things. But I think the
Where
music,
was that? Was that at the like
the
that
Southgate House.
Southgate house? That's what it was.
And is there any way you can turn your microphone up a little bit?
Yes.
Awesome.
I tried.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay if not. It's okay if not. But
Is that better?
yeah, I think that's a little better.
Okay. I don't really know how to do it, but
No, you're okay. It's totally fine. So it's funny. But even though we never made a record and we only played the one show, those songs I think are by far the most relevant and important out of any of them to mixtapes and everything that happened, because A, I was figuring out the kind of music I wanted to write, and B, I mean, we literally re-recorded a bunch of the songs. So it was definitely in the same vein, obviously. So I think that was important. And it was funny because I was going to go back in time, but I thought that we met just like because of the band you were in at the time, but apparently we didn't. So
Oh wait, you mean the Blue Kids?
Yes. Yes, and I talked about the Blue Kids because I thought we played together and that's how we met. I didn't realize we met before that. But the Blue Kids were your band, which I even said on here, all I remembered was that you had a really good voice, but the band I couldn't remember at all, except that you guys covered AFI.
We did cover AFI.
That's what I remember. I don't even remember what song.
It was But Home Is Nowhere.
Okay, that's right. And I remember it, but apparently we met at a different time. If you would like to enlighten me, that I was mean to you at the mall, which I don't even remember in any way.
So I think I was working at Journeys at that point. No, that was Kenwood. I don't know what I was doing. I was at Tri-County Mall, and I don't know who I was walking around with, but you had like a posse of people just with you. And I think maybe I was dating some guy that knew you at the time, and so he followed you into Hot Topic. And when you were trying on sunglasses, but you kept being like a dick. You were just like, yeah, those sunglasses look dumb on you. And I'd be like, oh, sorry. Oh, my like 15, 16-year-old self. And then, yeah, we met later because I think it was Black Tie Bombers.
Yeah. We played a show with you guys at Never on Sundays, which was a shitty venue and club in Cincinnati that I remember. What did you? Yeah. And there's no, that was Sudsy's. There was a laundromat. Never on Sundays was the bar. It was run by a real weird, shady guy that I remember would like always come out and talk to you, like if you were like in your van behind it. And he was just like one of those real greasy promoter guys. He'd just come out and get real close to you and just like talk about the cut of the door and things like that. And you were like, dude, this is a local show with like 12 people here. I have no idea what you're talking about. I remember you guys covered AFI. And I remember that somehow we became friends and ended up playing music together. I don't even remember the story of it, to be honest with you, at all, as far as that goes.
I started dating your friend Josh.
Correct. Yeah, I think that was it. And somehow, and that through there. And I knew that after Black Tie Bombers, I had wanted to write something more personal because we kind of started doing that. I knew I wanted to do something different, and I knew I wanted to have some different vocals because I've never liked bands with just one singer. I mean, not to listen to, just for me personally.
Or you like listen back to me?
And I just always wanted to do something different. So I think that was a good start. And like you and I connected there. I don't know what you were coming from at the time. Like I don't even know what you were listening to at the time.
I don't know. Everything. I mean, I grew up listening to everything. So like sometimes I'd be driving and sing every part to Bohemian Rhapsody. But then I would change it and put it on like Strung Out or something like that.
Strung Out.
Or like my mixtape was like Atreyu and like Senses Fail and all that.
Just in case you needed to mosh, like bust out a quick mosh.
Yeah.
Which I think it notes you grew up in a very musical family, right?
Yeah, my whole family.
So
these are not my guitars, by the way.
Not even a single one?
Well, there is one. Actually, the guitar I played in Blue Kids is here. We revamped it and put.
You got to keep the classics around.
Yeah,
you definitely have to keep the classics around.
And it sounds sick.
Whose guitars are all of those?
Those are mostly my dad.
Okay, nice.
Guitar player.
So you grew up in a really musical family, and it was funny because I remember we sat down and started writing together, and I didn't really know anything. Like I just was like, I knew kind of what I wanted to do, and I knew that I just wanted to write really personal songs and kind of like get things out. I don't think I really knew how to do it yet, but I remember we recorded on this little laptop that I had on a pool table in my room.
I can close my eyes and literally see your room right now.
There was like, I had this pool table that was not ever used for playing pool. I either had like drawings on it or whatever, and then had this laptop set up on it. And I had some recording program that I downloaded off of like a shitty BitTorrent back in the day of some sort.
Like LimeWire?
And I didn't know how to do like metronomes or anything. I couldn't figure it out. So I had this shitty keyboard as well. I remember on the songs that we made for the cookies. Also, why did we call ourselves the Cookies? I'm sure that was my idea, but
I don't remember. I have no idea.
I mean, the Cookies is either the best or worst band name of all time, and I'm honest, I can't decide.
I actually think that we were at Taco Bell eating inside. We were dining inside. I think that's when you came up with the name. And I think your friend Jerry was with us.
Which is weird because they don't have cookies at Taco Bell.
They don't.
Which means I probably was thinking about cookies.
Probably.
I mean, it's a common thought. And but I literally remember, I'm like, this seems maddening looking back on it. The way I recorded those songs, like when I would show them to you originally for like my parts, where I would play a pre-recorded drum beat on this keyboard and record it with the microphone up to the speaker. It wasn't even lined in or anything. And I would play the drum beat at the right tempo and let it play for like 3 or 4 minutes. Then I would go back and try to play the guitar over the drum beat, even though it wasn't the drum beat of the song really at all. It was just the right tempo. Use it as a metronome, and then would try to take the drum beat back out after the guitar was there to make these acoustic songs. And then like you could hear the drum beat in the background. So I was trying to figure out noise removal and things. I had not a clue what I was doing. And like literally looking back, that does seem like beyond maddening that I even took the time to do that for like 10, 11, 12 songs, however many we made.
I mean, but if that's the only way you know how to do it at that time.
I wanted to figure it out myself, and I don't even know if I really figured it out, but I figured that out. And I remember like they were the type of songs we recorded, and I was like so bad with the microphone. As soon as you hit play, like you just hear static before you hear anything else. It was like shh, and then like this quiet guitar would come in. But I think the songs were cool. I actually tried to listen to them recently, and I found a few, but not all of them. I did find our MySpace page.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Which let me show you. We're gonna look at it.
Okay, well, while you're looking at the MySpace page, let me show you another surprise.
Okay.
Does this ring a bell?
Why does that ring a bell?
This is a dress, by the way.
It does, but I don't remember why.
You don't remember this dress? Come on!
I vaguely remember the dress, but wait, why should I remember the dress?
Because literally every Cookies picture we took, I wore that dress.
Yes, you did wear that dress a lot.
And it's funny because I just now found it, got it back.
Well, where was it?
It was at my house that my ex is living in right now, and I was like, I want my shit.
Okay, well,
I got my bin, and it was in there.
hey, well, there you go. You needed it. Well, let me show you this.
Okay.
It took a while because it's a MySpace. So trying to find a MySpace nowadays, I mean, it took me, and I feel like I'm pretty decent at searching the internet. You know what I mean? I can usually find stuff. It took me 20 or 30 minutes to find this, which I realized because when you go to songs, there's so many different things. Like this, oddly enough, this very first one is Us. And then after that, you just get into I Want a Boy for My Birthday, which I wish was Us, but it's not Us. Girls Grow Up Faster Than Boys, also not Us.
They're jealous of me.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in here. And then you get to Us again. And then
Orange Yellow Cupcakes. I remember Dear Jessie, but I don't see that on there.
That's the very first one, very top.
Oh.
So I found that, and then I found some pictures of us, which are definitely pretty good. There's the dress, though. There it is.
There's the dress, yeah.
That is the actual dress. So, it's not coming up right, but that's okay. We look like little babies there.
What is that one?
Which is what one?
Where I have my drug-free hoodie, and you definitely have a Suffocate Faster shirt on.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. We're just sitting there in the park. I remember we actually went to the park to take these pictures because it was convenient, and that seemed like a good thing to do at the time. So the park it was.
Yeah, it was. Also, what are those sunglasses? What is that?
That's you having a cool look. You have a drug-free hoodie on. You got to let the world know. And so we recorded all these songs, and then I was like real stoked on them. And I know, I mean, you were too. We had a lot of fun doing them. I didn't really have a plan. I don't think you did either. It's not like you and I were sitting down writing songs of the Cookies like we're gonna like go on tour or do this or that. We did play a show, and it went well from what I remember. It was just you and I acoustically.
Yeah.
And I think we played every single song we had in a Vanessa Carlton cover.
We did?
I think so. We recorded a Vanessa Carlton cover of White Houses. I think we played it at the show.
White Houses. I love
Yes.
that.
It is one of my favorite songs of all time. People like if I had to do like a list of perfect songs to me, White House is in the top 5 or 10 of there.
So good.
I don't know what else. Ignition Remix will be as well. Like I mean now that's like obviously a little bit tainted, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, obviously R. Kelly like sucks as a horrible person, but before that came out or anything, I would say Ignition Remix is an almost perfect song, along with White Houses by Vanessa Carlton. Past that, I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it sometime. But there'd definitely be a Dipset song in there as well, or a Cameron song. Maybe Hey Ma. Hey Ma might be a perfect song.
I don't even know who that is.
It's okay. You don't need to know who Dipset is. So yeah, we played one show and it went awesome. But I remember that just stuck with me, and that like kind of was what I wanted. Like you and I kind of singing together. It was kind of jangly. I don't know. It was like kind of a mix of like alternative rock type of stuff. I remember we wanted to do drums and bass. Like the idea of a band was cool. And at a certain point, actually, it's funny, before mixtape started, I think you were already in Nashville, but we'd even talked about re-recording a lot of those songs. And I was writing some new ones with the full band. And we were going to actually do it. It just ended up falling through for whatever reason. I mean, we're both busy doing things. But it is kind of funny because some of those songs that became mixtape songs we were going to do as a full band with like guitars and everything. But we never got to. But that definitely shaped the way I did it. So it's funny just looking back because, like I said, we didn't plan on any of that. And that band was like not, it's like barely a footnote, but it also was like a blueprint for me forward for years. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. So that
my first time co-writing, I think, with anybody other than my brother. So, that was different, but it was cool. It was actually kind of natural, to be honest.
It was. I think we worked well together. Fine. I think you were pretty easy to work with. I'm pretty easy to work with, except for when I just start screaming.
I don't remember you screaming.
Yeah, I don't ever scream. It was a joke. I couldn't tell you the last time I screamed.
I just remember you doing terrifying faces and coming at me like a monster.
Like a monster? What am I? That's what my wife always tells me every day. I just look like a big cartoon character, a creepy cartoon character.
You don't now.
Okay, coincidentally enough, the Hot Topic where I apparently was a dick to you and told you you look stupid in sunglasses was the Hot Topic managed by my wife now, even though thanks. So, small world. But since then, though, obviously you're working on tons of music. Right now you're doing your solo stuff.
Yeah, I am. So I guess your podcast is the first time I'm gonna announce that I'm not gonna be Abigail anymore.
Oh yeah?
I am, but there's so many. I keep getting so many messages about like, love your song. And I don't speak Spanish, so I don't even know. But it's like Latino songs. Like there's multiple Latino women who are great, but they're named just Abigail, and I'm like, all right, so I gotta move on. So I've decided on Bleach Bath. It's just gonna be solo still, but that's what I'm gonna do.
That's awesome. Are you excited about it?
I'm really excited. I don't know the last album I did. I don't know if you know. I taught myself Logic. I recorded it all myself, mixed it myself, played all the instruments, obviously sang, and that was really awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, I think I did see a little bit about that, and I listened to it, and it sounded great. I'm gonna put a link to it under this on here. Well, so you deserve it. How was learning Logic? Yeah, I always wanted to, and I realized I'd be a terrible producer because I don't have the patience. Like, I definitely could never record other bands that don't have the patience. But I always tell myself like I'm gonna get equipment, and then I start doing things like this, and I will spend like 20 hours talking to people editing this video. But then if I'll sit down for 10 minutes with my guitar and try to record something, I'll just get so frustrated. Like I can't do it. Like I love writing, but I always need someone else to engineer it. Was it like weird to teach yourself to have to do like the whole process?
Just to get like the right tones that I wanted. But I had my pedal board that I finally got like how I wanted it, and then I would just get up at like 5 a.m. and watch YouTube videos on like how to do Logic and take notes, and because at that time my son was 2, and he would get up at like 37, so I was like, I don't have any time to ever do
Right.
that. So that's what I did until I finished it.
That makes sense. That's awesome. Did I see that recently you did a song with Dashboard Confessional?
I did.
How'd that come about? I was gonna text you about that, but then then I got busy, much like most of our plans that happen.
Yeah, so Chris and I have become really good friends. He mainly because of the type of music we both grew up in, like the scene we grew up in. Except he's in Florida, we're in Ohio.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Ohio and Florida has that weird relationship.
Yeah, they're just really weird. Oh,
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. This will be the most tame conversation probably on this entire series, at least this season, so it'll be okay.
Okay, good. So, my brother is playing a show at the Basement East in Nashville. It was sold out. Chris is a big fan of Rusty's music.
Yeah, I was gonna say your brother's been doing awesome. I think that's so cool, and it makes me so happy. Which I guess is Rustin Kelly, whose album came out recently.
His second album came out in August. He's actually upstairs. He better not be eating my food.
He better not be.
He better not be.
He better not.
So long story short, Chris reached out to Rusty and was like, "Hey, I'd love to sing with you at the basement. I'm in town." And he was like, "Sick, let's do his song Mercury." So we ended up doing a 3-part harmony with me. And then Chris and I just hit it off talking about music or whatever. And then, I don't know, we just started writing together, and then we, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I just did his newest album that hasn't come out yet is almost all acoustic, and I did all the backing vocals for it.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
It's very weird, very like full circle, because Rusty and I perform Best Deceptions at like our high school talent show.
I
So
remember that. Like I remember that time. I was gonna say like you were a big fan.
yeah, and Rusty took like a picture to his like barbershop and was like, "This is how I want my hair cut," and it was a picture of Chris. And
Did, he
my
stop,
mom,
did you bring that up to Chris?
oh, my mom brought it up to Chris on the
So,
bus. We were on the tour bus, and my mom's like, "Rusty doesn't want me to tell you this, but I told him that story," and I was just like, "Good God, Mom!"
that's amazing.
Embarrassing family members.
Hey, that's okay. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. Well, I think that about wraps up everything, honestly. I just wanted to have a nice conversation and catch up with you, unless you have anything else you'd like to share.
No, just that my new project is called Bleach Bath.
That's what I would like you, and everyone looked it up. And I'm going to put a link under the video as well, because you are one of the most talented people I literally know. So you deserve everyone to listen to your music. And thank you for making music with me and helping me figure out what kind of music I wanted to make.
I mean, of course, it's awesome.
We will make more music together one day.
Yeah, I literally was about to say that. Why are you trying to copy what I'm saying?
Because I don't have any of my own thoughts, so I take other people's thoughts. So it makes me sound interesting.
You are interesting.
I would love to come play on some of those guitars and amps, so I will totally come write songs with you. But I'm going to tell you, they're all going to sound like early Korn.
Oh, I love Follow the Leader. Do it.
Is that even early Korn or is that mid Korn? Shit, I don't even know.
I don't know, but it sounds like you're talking about a cornfield now. Like, is that early corn? Like, is it ready? No, it's just mid corn. It's not ready to be harvested yet.
Oh, you mean like actual corn?
Like actual corn.
Do people say that, like those terms that you just used, or did you just make all that shit up off the top of your head?
I mean, I feel like that's what I would say.
Oh, you're not a farmer. I don't know if you're the best bassist for exactly.
But I did write a note down because I wanted to remind you.
Okay.
We hung out at that shitty practice space. You remember that?
The shitty practice space?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, many memories of the shitty practice space.
And I remember one of my like first times ever singing in front of anybody other than you was like it was like a Black Tie Bombers song you guys were trying out, and
yes, we were actually doing a split with the Queers or working on something for a compilation, and we were doing a song about Resident Evil as a B-side.
I didn't know that.
It was about John and I wrote a song about Resident Evil, John Lewis from the Dopamines and that was the song we wanted you to sing on.
Well, so I remember John hanging a mic like literally from the ceiling. It just like hung and like swung like that. And he was like, just sing like opera into it. And he made me sing like opera stuff. And I was like, I don't think this fits. But I mean, all right, if that's what you want. But I'll never forget that. It was so funny. But
John will be on the next episode.
You
and
will?
That is hilarious. Yes, he will. And that is amazing because that's a very John thing to do.
Yeah.
Did you sing like an opera person? Did you listen to him?
I mean,
did that song ever even come out?
Did I mind him? Yes, I mind. I think I sang like Phantom of the Opera or something like that because I was like, I don't know what to sing. And he was like, that's awesome. We're going to use that. And I'm like, no, you're not.
I don't know if we ever did or not, to be honest with you.
I don't know. But just like when you asked me to do this, I was trying to think of memories. And I was like, man, a lot of my memories with you are just like either practice space, your bedroom, writing, lighting fireworks outside on your driveway.
Yeah. Do you mean the time when you took a firework on the 4th of July, put it in the street in front of my house, and a police officer happened to drive by and it almost blew up under his police car?
I forgot about that.
Is that what you mean? Because yes, that was definitely a memory. And that was a good one. And luckily, at the time, he was very nice. And I remember he just got out and was like, hey, don't do that. And we were just like, okay. And that was about it, luckily. So it definitely could have been worse.
I remember that. I do remember that. That was some dumb shit that we did.
I mean, that was fine. And that was, there was that and a lot of writing. And then, we just played a lot of music. And then we played the battle ball game. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Battle ball, which the world does need to know because a lot of people don't know. The high school that I went to had like a chapel attached to it because I went to a Christian high school. And it had a very tall slanted roof. So we used to play this game called Battle Ball, where like 8 of us would get together and we would hit this huge ball onto the roof. Like it was a pretty heavy, like bigger inflatable ball.
Yeah.
So you would have to hit it, and then we had an order that would be decided before the game. Then the next person had to hit it, and it had to hit off the roof and have at least one bounce. And then when it came back off the roof, if you missed it, you got a point, and at 10 points you were out. So these games took like probably like 30 to 45 minutes, I feel like.
For a long time.
And it was a great game. And it's funny because after a while, which I'll get to actually in the next season when I got arrested in that parking lot, so we couldn't play there anymore.
Got arrested in the parking lot.
I wrote a little song about it, a mixtape song. And but so then we had to find someplace else, and we couldn't. We tried to find so many different places. We found this old like dentist weird office with a slanted roof that we tried to play at after they closed. That roof was just, it was built for Battle Ball.
It was.
We made a game that could only be played on this one specific roof that we could never go back to and play again. And it's just, honestly, that's the biggest tragedy of this entire series. That's the saddest thing, I think, is Battle Ball. But we're going to bring it back one day. If I ever become independently wealthy, I will rebuild that exact roof in my driveway. And then we will all get together and we will we'll play Battle Ball.
We'll play Battle Ball and then go to Jungle Gyms into the weird soda area and get like weird
Jungle Gyms. You're hitting all the deep spots. For people outside of Cincinnati, Jungle Gyms is one of the best grocery stores ever.
Yeah.
You can Google it. I mean, it's been on the national news multiple times, but it's one of the best grocery stores on the planet.
I'm just thinking of all my Cincinnati memories because I did live there for a while, but I've lived in Nashville the longest I've lived anywhere. I've lived here almost 12 years now. So
Me and Katie are gonna come down there and see you guys sometime and say hello.
do it.
I will. We will wear masks and we'll stay 6 feet away and we will play guitars.
Let's do it. You can play these if you want.
I would love to. Not really, actually.
No, because they're all in like open tuning and it's like kind of lame.
Don't even know what that means. So yeah, don't get me with that. I don't even know how to change my guitar strings. But no, thank you so much for being on here. I'm going to post the links below. And this was very fun. We need to catch up again. We need to talk some more.
It's weird. It's like I mean we haven't talked like in person. Well, I mean, at least seeing each other in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. You came actually when mixtapes were on tour with the Wonder Years.
Yes.
I don't remember who else was on that tour.
No, we met at Waffle House, and okay, crazy story about that.
Okay.
Waffle House, which is in the ghetto, technically in Nashville, not the safest area. So when we had that mass shooting at the Waffle House, I don't know if you've heard about it, and like the guy ran off and we couldn't find him for days. It was at that Waffle House.
Was it the one we met at?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, mixtapes are on tour with the Wonder Years for sure. I want to say Hostage Calm and Living with Lions. Maybe Make Do Amend. You came to that show at Rocket Town and you sang Orange Yellow with us. That was the last time I saw you though. You sang it, yeah, and that was awesome.
I don't remember that at all. Man,
yeah.
I don't remember.
So you came and sang that, which was cool. And that was the last time we saw each other. And that was that Waffle House we met at and you ate with us. Mm-hmm. And then there was a mass shooting there. So good for us. We bring good things about.
Oh my God.
I'm not serious.
I know you're not serious. I see a hamburger behind you. I know you're not serious.
Oh, the hamburger's serious.
So is the guy on top.
Grimace?
No. Grimace. I don't want to hear about those things.
You don't want to hear about those things.
No.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this. I guess we'll wrap this up. What did you say?
I said, yeah.
This is about 6 quarters, which again, here's the thing. Every episode is supposed to be kind of around a song, but it's really just a way to tie everything together. So I don't end up usually talking about the song very much.
Well, that song, though, is the song that taught me how much it costs to get a drink at McDonald's.
That is what I wanted to go over. I'm so glad you said that before we get off here. And that's what's
I didn't know that.
That's what's so crazy is inflation does not apparently affect McDonald's. Everywhere else it does, because it's funny. I wrote that song. I mean, gosh, how old is that song at this point? 12 years?
I've lived here for 12 years, and
13.
probably a few years before that.
So I wrote that song 13 years ago, and it was called 6 Quarters because every night I would drive home and get a Diet Coke at this McDonald's, and it was $1.48 or $1.49. So I would give them 6 quarters. Now they are $1. McDonald's has gotten cheaper in 13 years, which is terrifying and also interesting.
Good for them.
Right? Seriously. What other business can you say that about? That song is a testament right there, because I don't need those 6 quarters anymore.
No, you don't.
So McDonald's, I think, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That was an important thing to me, because I think I needed to get that out there to the world for sure, because it was really driving me crazy when I thought about it.
I'm glad I can help you with that therapy.
Me too. But I hope you have a great night. I'm glad you're doing well. You look great. You seem great.
You do.
I'm excited to hear more music from you. I'm going to put links there, and let's make some music.
Okay, I would love that.
All right. Well, you have a great night, and I will talk to you very soon.
Okay, but you have to take a picture with me.
What do you mean?
How do you do like a screenshot?
I'm just going to take one.
Oh, like this.
Yeah. And I'm going to leave this in the episode because I don't edit shit.
We're both taking pictures of each other.
That's awesome. That's good. Maybe I will. Now I'm not going to cut it out. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to talk soon, and you have a wonderful night.
You too. Hey.
Yeah.
I miss you.
I miss you too. We're going to hang out soon. We're going to come down to Nashville. I promise.
All right. I have to meet your wife. I still have not.
You do have to meet my wife. We're all going to hang out. We're going to come down there soon. I'm not just saying that, because you know a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
We're going to really do it.
Do it.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye. Hey there. Typically, this is where I was going to have a song at the end of every episode, and to be honest with you, 2 episodes into that idea, I was kind of already over the idea of just having a song be there no matter what, because these songs already exist, and just forcibly putting one at the end seemed silly, which is not to say there will not be any more. Even in this season, I am going to have more songs, but, you know, obviously this season is focused on mixtapes, but I wanted to, do more past that as well. And the song titles, I think, as episode titles will work because it's just more of a timeline thing. But this was more a way just to kind of grow for myself and talk to people that I think are amazing and, tell stories and just put it out there. So the song parts are important, but I just don't, want to force myself just to acoustically play a song at the end of every episode when it seems silly. So I think what I might do is at the end of seasons release something with all the songs in one spot, or maybe do something online musically. I'm not sure. So you can let me know if you have any ideas, but that's just kind of where I was at with it, and just wanted to put that here because I'm just kind of doing this as it comes and learning. So yeah, thank you for watching this episode as well. I really appreciate it. I think they're just going to keep getting better.
Hey there, I'm Ryan. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna talk about some songs and probably get off topic.